So it's the day after the Jalen Ramsey trade, and a lot of people are wondering, where do the Eagles go from here? Who are they going to target before the trade deadline? So I'm going to give you my opinion, throw my hat into the ring, and we can't forget, we have a huge game Sunday night versus the Dallas Cowboys, and that team is really banged up.
Hail the cowboy, Mr. McLean. You Americans are all alike. But this time, John Wayne doesn't walk into the sunset with Grace Kelly. Scary Cooper, asshole! Oh, Diva! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! That was crazy!
Happy trails, Hans.
Dallas still stinks.
Yo, everybody, doing? King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. It is the day after the Jalen Ramsey trade, and when I made my video yesterday, it was like right after the trade happened. So you were catching me as I was reacting to it, as I was very emotional about the trade, because I wanted him for a while. And after a night to sleep on it, a night to think about it and reflect, I've come to the decision that I feel exactly the same way as I did last night. I don't feel any different. I still think we should have made the move. Now, here's what I'll say. This whole trade, it has got our fan base, I think, split in half. I think there's a lot of people who don't think we should have made the trade, should keep the picks. Then there are people like me that think we should have. And I got to tell you, I don't think either opinion is wrong. I think that there's very valid points on both sides. I think what it's really coming down to, from what I'm seeing, is it's kind of how you view Jalen Ramsey. If you view Jalen Ramsey as a good corner, a Pro Bowl corner, a guy who's good, but you know what, there's other good players too, then you kind of fall into the side of, hey, you don't give up 2 first-round picks and a 4th for him or whatever it was. You don't do that because he's good, but he's not that good. He's not worth it. If you fall into the other side, I think you view Jalen Ramsey kind of like me. A 24-year-old Hall of Fame caliber talent at corner. A guy who doesn't come around often. A guy who, when it's all said and done in his career, will be one of the better corners to ever play this game. I think if you feel that way about Jalen Ramsey, you tend to fall on the side that I'm in, because that's how I feel about Jalen Ramsey. I said this for years. Jalen Ramsey, to me, is a special talent. And when you get a guy that's a special talent at 24, and you get a guy who wants a trade, and he happens to play the position you are reeling from and you are weak on. Okay, the Eagles have allowed a 100-yard receiver 18 out of the last 19 games. That's a lot of games. Okay, and when you see that talent come at a position you're the weakest in during the season, that's something that doesn't happen very often at all. Hardly ever. Okay, hardly ever. So yes, I feel like you have to jump on it, and that's why I would say yes, do it, because he is 24 years old. He would be your foundational piece on defense, and I see it as getting younger. Though you're giving up 3 picks, one of those picks is really Jalen Ramsey. So you get 2 first-round picks, and it was a 4th, I believe. So you have the 2020 first, you have the 2021 first. That 2020 first-round pick, the first-round pick, essentially is Jalen Ramsey. He is the pick. He is replacing that pick. So you've replaced one of those first-round picks with a 24-year-old stud elite corner. Then you have that 1st and the 4th is really the 2 picks you have to replace. Nobody can tell me that the Eagles cannot still get younger, still get more picks, and still make up for 2 picks. It's probable, especially when you're probably picking between 15 and 32. So that's why I would have done it. But look, there's another side to this, and I get it. I get what people are thinking. It's just, I really think it's how you view Jalen Ramsey, and I view him as a guy that you're not going to see come around very often. So that's why I would do it. And there's not many guys that I would do that for. There's just not. he is one of them. He was one of them, in my opinion. A very special talent. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not one of those people that are saying Howie Roseman should get fired or he stinks or everything is done. We can't win. I don't think any of that. I don't think any of that at all. Okay, I still have hope for this season. I still think we can fix our problems. But to me, he was the easy fix. It was the easy move to fix things right away, as well as get younger and have a foundational piece on defense for the future. So that's kind of how I looked at it. The question is really now is where do the Eagles go from here? Where do they go from here in a trade? And that is a great question. A lot of people are talking about Desean Howard, Chris Harris Jr., Patrick Peterson at cornerback position. I looked at Desean Howard's cap numbers. They're pretty high, okay? So I'm not sure if they're going to go him. Patrick Peterson, I'm not sure either. I think Chris Harris Jr. is a possibility, but it really depends what the Denver Broncos do the next 2 weeks, because there's 2 games before the trade deadline. If they split the next 2 weeks, chances are they're not going to be selling anybody. So we'll have to see. But when I look at what the Eagles are going to do, I think Chris Harris Jr. is there's an outside shot. Patrick Peterson and Desean Howard, I kind of don't think so at all. I to be honest with you, to be totally honest, I have a feeling that the Eagles are not going to trade for a corner at all. At all. I think they're going to skip it. I think they're going to say, you know what, we got a lot of young guys in the secondary. They're reeling. They're getting playing time. But we're going to hope that they get better as the year goes, that we're going to fix these holes, and that some of them are going to get healthy, and we're going to flourish, and that they'll be okay. I think this is what the Eagles are going to do. This is just a gut feeling, okay? But I think they're not going to go secondary at all. I think they're going to skip it. I think where you're going to see the Eagles make a trade, in my opinion, I think they're going to go offense. I think the key for the Eagles and what they may do in a trade, at the trade deadline, is get a wide receiver. This is just an opinion of mine, because Desean Jackson's injury, okay, is one of those injuries where if he feels good, he could play the Dallas game, but then he could come back and be out the next 2 weeks. This is an injury that's going to linger all year long with him. So we may get him at times for a game. We may lose him for 2 games. We may have him the last game of the year. We may not have him during a playoff game. So you just don't know, okay? And this offense is reeling. This offense is reeling. And why? Because we don't have any weapons. We don't have any weapons with Desean Jackson out, with Alshon Jeffrey hurt. I know he's hurt. He looks really slow. The guy catches a ball on the sideline that he should be able to walk into the end zone, and somehow he loses his balance out of nowhere. It was weird, okay? He's hurt. And look, I'm sorry, but Nelson Aguilar, to me, I would consider even benching Nelson Aguilar at this point and putting in Greg Ward, or somebody. Give somebody else a chance, because I don't think he's good. And I don't think Carson trusts him at all enough to throw him the ball. So I think that the Eagles' wide receiver situation, with Desean out and Alshon hurt, I think that's where the Eagles can look to upgrade. And one guy is obviously Manuel Sanders. I think he would be cheap. He's fast. He could play inside. He could play outside. And he would be a very big impact. But as it is with Chris Harris Jr., it all depends. Will he be even traded, or is Denver going to split the next 2 games and keep fighting, keep trying to make the playoffs and that kind of thing? Really, you need Denver to lose the next 2 games so that they sell. That's what I think. So he's a possibility. And there's another guy that I'm really thinking about. And I think, I don't know, I think this makes a lot of sense. And that's Devontae Parker of the Miami Dolphins. We know the Dolphins, they're done. They're in rebuild mode. They're in sell mode. And it is very possible you could move a guy like him. Now, one of the things about him is he can go downfield. He can go up and get a ball. He's decent speed. And he would be a definite upgrade for this team. And if we have Desean Jackson, him and Alshon on the field at the same time, that would be even better. But if Desean can't play for some reason, he can play the other outside, and it would be a big impact on us. The other thing that I like about Devontae Parker is he has 2 years left on his contract. He's got this year, and it may be an option year next year, but basically he signed through 2020. We know we know, and we know Howie Roseman likes to get guys with 2 years left on their rookie contract. Did it with J.J., could do it again with him. And not only that, he is a Miami Dolphin. The Eagles have success with trading with Miami. So, that's where I kind of think the Eagles are going to go this trade deadline. I have a feeling they're going to go wide receiver. But we'll see. That's just a gut feeling. I have no intel or no info on it. It's just kind of what I'm thinking. What do you guys think going to happen in this trade deadline? Where do you think the Eagles are going to target? It's going to be very interesting. So I will say this. I don't expect any trades before the trade deadline. I really don't. I don't think anything's going to happen. So we'll wait and see in a few weeks what Howie Roseman decides to do. In the meantime, we got some big games to play. We got a big game this week. We got a huge game this week. Sunday Night Football, Dallas Cowboys. They swept us last year. I'm sick of it. I want to beat this team. Now, in a perfect world, Dallas would be 100%. We would be 100%, and we would just be able to go at it. But that's not really how things work. I mean, that's not how things work. We've been banged up pretty much all year. Maybe we're starting to get a little healthy slowly. Dallas, they're starting to get really banged up. They're hurting. I think they got 6 guys not practicing. It sounds like Amari Cooper is not going to play. He may be out multiple weeks. Tyron Smith, Lyle Collins, those guys all could miss the game. And if those 3 guys miss the game, that falls right into the Eagles' favor. I mean, it really does, because Amari Cooper killed us last year. We know how bad our secondary has been playing. To get him off the field is a big deal. Our defensive line had 10 sacks against the Jets, but hadn't done too much else besides that game. To take 2 offensive linemen out of Dallas's lineup really benefits them. So it looks like some of our weak spots on defense may not have to go against some of their best players that match up against that position, which is a break for us. It's a big break for us. It's the way these things fall. Like I said, I don't wish an injury on anybody. I don't want Dallas to be hurt. I don't want to be hurt, but it is what it is. As far as we go, we got Jason Peters. He's out. He is out. And Andre Dillard's going to make his first start. I like the kid, but he's got a tough matchup against Robert Quinn, who's got 5 sacks, I believe, on the year. This is going to be key for the Eagles to give this kid help and make sure that, they kind of got his back, because he's got his work cut out for him, no doubt about it. And I thought he was up and down last week, good at times, bad at times, and this is going to be no easier. Now, on a bright note for the Eagles, sounds like there's a shot Desean Jackson plays. This is huge. This is huge for the Eagles, because if you could add him back in this lineup and he can run and he's somewhat healthy and he can stretch that field, the way this offense looks completely changes. You get more room in the middle. Everybody else gets more room. You're not going to be able to double team Ertz, and it just works out better for the Eagles. Desean Jackson is a big piece to this offense, and if he's back this week, especially with Amari Cooper and their offensive linemen being out, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and I think the whole injury battle right now is playing into the Eagles' hands. But we're going to have to see if he can play. Nigel Bradham is day-to-day. It looked like it was going to be much worse. Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like he may be playing. There were talks about him being in a boot earlier in the week, and when usually guys are in a boot, they're out for a while. Doesn't sound like that's the case at all. So I think, like, when you look at how banged up these teams, and I'm going to be doing my preview video pretty soon, probably out tomorrow or Friday. But it's a big game, man. I'm excited about this game. And there was distraction with the whole Jalen Ramsey trade, but now we got to focus back on Dallas, get this game, get this victory, get in the first place, and we're going to be okay. Dallas fans, I know you're reeling. And I know some Dallas fans are like, dude, just beat us so we can fire Jason Garrett. It's that bad in Dallas right now. So we're going to see what happens. It's going to be fun. And we're going to see how all these injuries play out. I'm very curious, which probably means I should probably wait till Friday and the injury report comes out before I do my preview video, which is probably what I'm going to do. But, man, Dallas is reeling of injuries. We are slowly maybe getting healthy. Slowly. Not a lot. We're still banged up in a lot of areas. But for once, we're going into a game where we're not the most banged up team, it seems. So with that said, take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.